The USAF and the U.S. Navy just unveiled this secret weapon in the air. Science fiction has long suggested that the impossible is possible. Filmmakers and video game designers have only enhanced what the world can offer, in part because they are not constrained by physical laws or defense budgets. At the very least, when H.G. Wells and Jules Verne conceived some of their grand ideas for what the future might hold, they based them on current scientific knowledge, thus the origins of the term science fiction. But do we have a flying aircraft in reality? Well, let's find out. Hey guys, welcome to our channel Future Warplanes, where we tell you about military fighter jets, military drones, and military planes from the currently famous in the air to the most advanced around the world. So stay with us till the end of this video so you don't miss out on any of this information. But before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on that bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our amazing videos in the future. And let's get started. Today, if CGI can create it, you're likely to see it on the big screen. The same is true in video games, where flying tanks, defense shields, and high-energy weapons are used in near-future wars. Some of these may appear on future battlefields, while others are unlikely to be used in the way we see in games and movies. This includes flying aircraft carriers, swarms of warriors with jetpacks, and, of course, mechs. It could also be added with skepticism that some of these creations are tailor-made for toys, both actual playsets for children and the collectible variety that graces the shelves of young at heart adults. That's why we'll keep debating the merits of these science-fictional and improbable war machines. But as the United States shifts its focus away from ongoing counterterrorism operations and toward great power competition with nations such as China, it is being forced to reconsider its aircraft carrier force projection strategy. If U.S. carriers find themselves on the sidelines of such a conflict, it may be time to reconsider the concept of a flying aircraft carrier. Currently, China's arsenal of hypersonic anti-ship missiles has created an area denial bubble, preventing American carriers from sailing close enough to Chinese shores to launch sorties, effectively neutralizing America's ability to conduct offensive operations against the Chinese mainland. Combat operations in the Pacific would be incredibly challenging without the ability to use the U.S. Navy's attack aircraft. Though potentially impractical, it is entirely feasible to build and station flying aircraft carriers for such a conflict. The United States has even started experimenting with the concept several times in the past and continues to pursue it today. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, has recently completed testing on a flying aircraft carrier. DARPA successfully launched a Dynetics X-61A Gremlin unmanned aerial vehicle, or UAV, from the cargo bay of a Lockheed Martin C-130A cargo plane in January. The goal of the program is to demonstrate the effectiveness of low-cost combat-capable drones that can be deployed and recovered from cargo planes. DARPA envisions using cargo planes such as the C-130 to deploy these drones while they are still outside of enemy air defenses, enabling the drones to go on and hit targets before returning to the airspace around the mothership to be recaptured and carried home for service or repairs. The test demonstrated that the C-130 could deploy a drone, but the drone itself was destroyed when its parachute failed to open after an hour-and-a-half flight. A subsequent test involving drone capture was scheduled this year, but has presumably been postponed due to the COVID-19 outbreak. With the success of this test and other drone wingman programs such as Skyborg, the idea of a flying aircraft carrier has seen a revival in recent years and may eventually become a common facet of American air power. From its enormous success as a passenger plane to its various governmental uses such as being a taxi for the space shuttle or a cargo aircraft, the Boeing 747 has already managed to secure its spot in the pantheon of great aircraft. The 747 has proven to be an exceptionally effective aircraft for a wide range of applications. Thus, it seemed natural when the U.S. Air Force began testing the concept of transforming one of these large aircraft into a flying aircraft carrier full of parasite fighters that could be launched and retrieved in midair. Initially, the massive cargo plane Lockheed C-5 Galaxy was planned to be used, but as Boeing noted out at the time, the 747 actually provided superior range and endurance when flying with a full payload. So according to Boeing's proposed plan, the 747 could be outfitted to carry up to 883,000 pounds. The Boeing 747 AAC, or Airborne Aircraft Carrier, concept was simple in theory but highly complicated in practice. Boeing would develop and construct fighter aircraft small enough to fit inside the 747, as well as an equipment that would allow the large aircraft to transport the fighters a long distance, release them where they were required for combat, and then recover them. Boeing's 60-page approach to integrating how such a program could be implemented, but there are still unanswered questions about the fuel range of a 747 carrying such a heavy payload and how the fighters would perform in combat. Earlier flying aircraft carrier concepts demonstrated that the enormous turbulence created by large aircraft and their jet engines made it extremely challenging to manage the fighters they would drop, particularly when they attempted to return to the aircraft after a mission. Concerns were also raised about how well these miniature parasite fighters would function against the top-tier Soviet fighters they might encounter. The proposed plan never made it off the page, but it did establish one key point for future discussion on the subject. Based on the report, Boeing determined that the concept of a flying aircraft carrier was technically feasible using technology from the early 1970s. It's important to remember that technically feasible is not the same as fiscally viable. Lockheed Martin Skunk Works has created some of the most incredible aircraft ever to fly, from the high-flying U-2 spy plane to the fastest military jet ever, the SR-71. However, those incredible aircraft pale in comparison to Lockheed's proposal to build the CL-1201, a massive nuclear-powered flying aircraft carrier. The recommendation called for a plane weighing 5,265 tons. In order to lift that much weight, the design called for a 1,120-foot wingspan and a 560-foot fuselage, or about 2.5 times that of a 747. It would have stood 153 feet tall, equivalent to a 14-story building. According to Lockheed, this massive bird could be launched into the sky using only 4 massive turbofan engines powered by regular jet fuel up to 16,000 feet, where it would then switch to nuclear power via its onboard reactor. The massive aircraft would carry an 845-person crew and be capable of deploying 22 multi-role fighters from docking pylons mounted on the wings. It would also keep a small internal hangar bay for repairs and aircraft service while in flight. This design, predictably, did not make it past the proposal stage, but the concept itself remains a historical anomaly that continues to inspire renewed interest to this day. The B-36 Peacemaker. When fully loaded with fuel and ordnance, this massive bomber weighed in at an astounding 410,000 pounds, thanks to its large fuel reserves and 86,000 weapon capacity. The B-36 was developed in response to a request for an aircraft capable of taking off from the United States, bombing Berlin with conventional or atomic ordnance, and returning without refueling. However, by the time the B-36 took to the skies, World War II had already ended for more than a year. The wingspan of the B-36 was enormous. The wingspan of the Peacemaker at 230 feet dwarfs that of the B-52, which has a wingspan of 185 feet. It was one of the largest aircraft ever to fly in its day, and despite its incredible capabilities, the B-36 never flew an operational mission. However, the platform's massive size and range prompted the Air Force to consider using it as a flying aircraft carrier, with the Republic, YRF, 84F, Phycon parasitic fighters serving as the bomber's payload. The concept was similar to that of Boeing's later proposal, holding the fighters from within to extend their operational range and then launching them via a lowering boom, where they could serve as bomber protection, reconnaissance assets, or even conduct combat operations of their own before going back to the B-36 for recovery. And that's it for today's episode. We sincerely hope you enjoyed our video. If you did, please click on that like button and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to see even more incredible videos. Hey, we'll catch up in the next one. Thanks for watching.